G'day, it's Heath here from pickinglessons.com. In this mandolin lesson, we're going to take a look at some arpeggios and blending those arpeggios with the minor scale. We're going to have a look at the natural minor scale and the harmonic minor scale as part of this lesson. They're the notes we're calling on for our passing notes, and our arpeggios are going to be following our chord progression that we have here, which is over an F major 7, an E7, an A minor 7, and a D minor 7. So we're covering major 7 arpeggios, minor 7 arpeggios, and the dominant 7th. If you're not familiar with those shapes, check out, there's 2 lessons before this. There's Arpeggios 101, and then there's Arpeggio Licks, where we have a look at some ideas using those arpeggios. And in this lesson, we're taking it a step further. We'll learn a bunch of licks as part of this lesson, but we'll also look at how we can blend in those scales and use those as passing notes. We're in the key of A minor for this chord progression, so that's why we're using an A minor scale, but also the harmonic minor scale, and we'll discuss why we need both of them when we get to it. In a moment, we're going to break down the first 4 measures of that introduction that I played at the beginning of this video. We'll break down and analyze what's happening with those licks over those particular chords. So that's for the F major 7 and the E7. We'll also have a quick look at the 2 scales we're going to be using. So the A minor scale and the A harmonic minor scale. So we'll look at the difference and what is different about those 2 scales and why we're using them. But if you head over to pickinglessons.com, you're able to pick yourself up a copy of this chart that we're working from that has all the licks we'll be learning, plus the natural minor and harmonic minor scales that we're learning, and also the second part of this lesson where we'll break down the remainder of the licks and sort of analyze what's going on, why it works, what we're looking for when we're trying to blend them. Remember, if you need to learn these arpeggios, pickinglessons.com as well. Arpeggios 101 and Arpeggio Licks. They're 2 lessons previous to this one. So let's start out by learning the natural minor scale. So in A minor, so this chord progression is in the key of A minor, and basically the A natural minor scale sounds like this. So I'm playing it in a closed position. In A minor, I could use some open strings. I could play it like this. But we're going to learn it in a closed position. Now, if you can move it to an open string, great, do that. But some keys you can't. So we'll learn it as a closed position scale. So the A minor, the A natural minor scale. So that's what we're looking at there. Take your fingers as you wish. You might choose to slide finger 2 and then use finger 3. You might use all 4 fingers. There, maybe slide finger 1, 2 and 3, or use 4 fingers. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you're comfortable with, both ways are going to work. In context of using it in your improvisation, your fingers are probably going to change anyway. So there's the A natural minor. The natural minor, interestingly, is the relative minor of the key of C. So C major and A minor share the same scale notes. No sharps, no flats in this particular key. That's going to differ when we get to the harmonic minor scale. We'll do that in a moment. Let's have a look at this first lick over the F major 7 chord. The F major 7 arpeggio we're using. There's our arpeggio, and here's the lick. Moving into the next chord there on that 2nd fret there, the B. So our F major 7 lick. Now the arpeggio itself, there's F major 7, then we've got a bunch of passing notes. So there's from our scale, there's the scale as well. And then you can see that we're focusing more on the arpeggio notes. There's the root note, there's the major 7, there's the 5th, then we're changing chords. So the whole idea of these licks is that the arpeggios are a real feature. F major 7 is the chord that we're playing, so we've got our F position as an F major 7, and then the F major 7 arpeggio has the major 7th in there. There's the root note, passing note, chordal note, there's the passing note in there. So thinking of your scale notes that are passing notes, treat them as passing notes. Don't treat them as a special note. The arpeggio notes are the ones we're going to focus on. There's a real theme going through these licks, and if you can do that in your playing, you'll find that your improvising is going to be completely different to what it perhaps was if you weren't thinking about arpeggios and the notes that belong to the chords. So the F major 7, if you're not sure of those arpeggios, if that's gone too quick, go back and have a look at Arpeggios 101 and also the Arpeggio Licks we did in the previous lesson as well. It'll all help you understand what we're using. Moving on though, the next chord we're playing over is an E7. So the E7 chord has the flat 7 in there, so it's a major chord plus a D note in this case, because that's the flat 7, the dominant 7th. And so the lick we're playing here is only a short one. We sort of have that B note leading us into the E7. We're going to leave some space there. Space is good. And then we're going to play this part of the arpeggio, leading us to the next chord change, which is an A minor 7. So this short lick here, what we're starting off with is the 5th of the E chord and the flat 7 of the E7 chord. So I'm making use of those notes. So the notes we have there are the D and the B. So it's out of that E7 chord. And then a passing note here is the C note from the minor scale. So that lick there, flat 7, 5th from the E7 chord, flat 7, passing note, finishing on that open A, which is the root note of the next chord, the A minor 7. So analysing these licks, following through these arpeggios, making them a feature of your playing, and treating the other notes that we have in the scales as more passing notes. So passing notes compared to the arpeggio notes or the chordal notes, there's a difference. The chordal notes or the arpeggio notes are the ones that should be given more emphasis. That's what we're going to be looking at over these next licks. That's the whole idea of what we're doing here. So we're blending our arpeggios with the minor scales. So we've only needed the natural minor scale so far. Let's have a quick look at the harmonic scale just to finish this lesson off. We haven't needed it so much at the moment, but the E7 chord is usually when we're going to have to tweak the scale, because the E7 has a G sharp in it, and the G sharp doesn't belong to our natural minor scale. So it's altered. So what we end up with is this choice of scale notes that has the G sharp. In the next lesson, we'll look at that a little closer, because there's a couple of licks that we're going to be really focusing on that E7 where we need to use the G sharp, and you'll hear how that really works and how it can really define the change from that 5th chord, the E7, to the 1 chord, the A minor. But that harmonic minor scale, one more time. Notice the difference. We have a G note in A minor, natural minor, but a harmonic minor, G sharp to the root note. So we'll be making use of that G sharp the next time we come across the E7 chord. We didn't need it in the first lick. That's okay. You don't have to use all the notes all the time. All right, so if you're having trouble with the arpeggios, remember Arpeggios 101, that'll get you started. Arpeggio Licks, the follow-up lesson to that, will get you going a little further. And this, we're just looking at more at how we can blend our scales. So the minor scales we're looking at here, plus the arpeggios. Remembering the whole time the arpeggios are our main source of melody notes, because they're the ones that tie into the chord. When you're ready, jump over to pickinglessons.com. You've got to get yourself this chart that we're working from. Has all the licks we're about to learn, plus the ones we've already done. The minor scales are on there. Plus the second part of this lesson, where we are about to break down the other licks that we have and analyse how they work and what notes we're using. So pickinglessons.com, I'll see you there.